Just wanted to introduce to you this next video around money and money mindset and some of the basics around creating wealth for yourself and some of the tips and the strategies that actually aren't that difficult to follow. So I'm really excited to have Warren Shute on. He's been a financial planner, certified financial planner for the last 15 years or so, award-winning company. But what I like about Warren is that what sets him apart from people in this industry is that he actually cares about the individuals making change, giving them that freedom to create the kind of life they want through their finances. And a mentor of mine always says, finances, money, and relationships are the things that cause people the most tension. And I couldn't agree more. And it's refreshing to see. Have somebody in this industry. No, I mean not everybody's the same, but the industry is full of people that are very much lost, I suppose, are in the industry for their own gain. Whereas Warren's passion is to share this kind of financial education first and foremost into the nation, and then onwards globally, and then. Yeah, it's big. The vision is bigger than himself, put it that way. And I think everybody that we try and introduce him, everybody that we interview, everybody that is a speaker or attends our workshops or delivers at our workshops, as to say, they all have that in mind, which is why he's on this. So without any further ado, check this out. You're really gonna love it. There's some great useful tips in there, and to get you kind of more financially free, financially savvy, and start creating things for yourself that you probably don't think that you can do. It's just knowing these habits, So a really insightful interview, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, guys, you're in for another treat. We have Warren Shute here with us today, and we'll be speaking about financial literacy. Financial planning, and a bit of background on Warren's story and how we can achieve this kind of the consistency in achieving those financial goals. So, hi Warren, how you doing?
Hey Kev, how you doing? All right?
Very good, thank you, sir. Very good. Thank you for coming on. So, for the guys, could you give us a sort of a bit of background about yourself?
Where do you want me to start? I trained originally in the early days as an accountant. I didn't qualify. Went into financial planning about 20 plus years ago, and have been very fortunate enough to develop a very boutique-y type practice here on the edge of the Cotswolds. We've now been selected for the second year running as the top 100 financial planning firm in the country, and I was awarded 2 weeks ago Financial Planner of the Year. So
Fantastic, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. You have a really interesting story. I wouldn't mind about why you wanted to get into this. I always sort of badger you for this when I interview you. But could you you share that with it was an old girlfriend, and why do you want to get into the whole financial thing in the first place?
Okay, so although I had a very happy upbringing, it was very humble insofar that I remember waking up as a child and there'd be icicles on the inside of my window.
Same.
It was colder inside than outside.
Yeah.
So that gives you a sense of purpose, of motivation to move away from, and then you need to find out what you're moving towards. And what you're alluding to there is, in my early 20s, I dated a girl whose father was a financial advisor at the time, and they seemed to have very lush, very flamboyant lifestyle, holidays, things now that we may take for granted, but growing up from where I was from, it was very impressive. And I always looked at and never thought that he did anything particularly special, or he wasn't overly academically intelligent, and I just wondered whether I could emulate that and do something similar. Sure. And fast forward a number of years, I knew I was very good with maths. I liked solving problems. I started training as an accountant, and I then went through the realms of financial planning, because I always felt accountancy was very, very retrospective. So the accountants look at your figures and say, well done, this is what you've done. But when in life really have we gained any progress by looking about where we've been? It's really about where we're going, because our past can help us learn about our future, but our past doesn't equal our future. It's our decisions we make that impact our future. So it's very important for me to look forward and to have what I call a compelling vision.
Sure. Okay.
And that's why I went into financial planning.
Can you talk a bit more about that compelling vision?
Yeah, sure. So, I get a little plug in my book. It's a 5-step process that we work with clients over. And the first step is all about creating a compelling vision. What is it? Why is it you get your ass out of bed in the morning and go to work? What is it you're doing it for? Because if you're just doing it to pay the bills, then stop. Really, well, come on. Life is too precious just to be wasted going through the treadmill every day. So it's really about saying, one of the questions to my clients, how do you want to spend the rest of your life? And then just shut up.
Yeah, sure.
You see them scramble in their brain a little bit, and then they start talking. And they initially start talking about their conscious values, what's important to them, but then really just allow them to keep speaking and just be quiet, just prod them and name the conversation, and they'll really start uncovering some deeper meaning, some things that are really, really important to them.
Sure.
So those values really are the foundations for their compelling vision, their future, what it is they really want to achieve in their life.
Sure.
So
it's funny because we do something similar. Cause it's about achieving outcomes in the work we do as well. And what I find interesting is, I'm not sure if you come across this as well. There's a lot of people that literally don't have that. They don't. Oh, I go to work and that's what I do, and that's my existence. I go and I'm happy doing that. I'm just we believe they're happy doing that. I'm not sure, but obviously it's up to them. But why are you here then, if that's the case? Do you see what I mean?
It's because very few things in life are natural. They're typically learned. So we learn to walk. We learn to play football. We learn how to spell. We learn how to speak. But for Christ's sake, education system, we don't learn how to set goals and how to move towards an outcome.
No, we don't.
But hey, we're really good at algebra and French and stuff like that when we do school. Okay, so it really, we just need to bring the education system up into the 21st century and say, hey, look, we now need to start setting goals, get a compelling vision of how do we want to spend the rest of our life? What is it we want to do? For a youngster, I was with some people in their 30s today, that was a bit too much for them to do. It was too much for them to think, well, how do I want to spend the rest of my life? They just had a young family. For them, it was almost survival mode of let's get through this period of time. But okay, how do I want to spend the next 5 years? What does that look like?
Exactly.
And you're right. It's just creating a vision and then saying, right, what do I need? What needs to happen in order for me to achieve that? What action steps? What goals in effect?
Yeah.
So for compelling vision, we have compelling vision, which is your lifestyle goal. Then we have a 10-year goal target, 5-year, 3-year, 1 year, and then 90-day check-ins.
Sure.
So every 90 days have a check-in. So you're moving towards your outcome.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I had talking about the age, and it's hard to see because I had a conversation with someone that was 27 or 28, something like that, and he said, "Well, I've got my house where I am. I love my little area. Work's going good. I just want to do that. I'm quite happy doing that. I'm traveling a bit. I'm happy doing that. However, what I was trying to get across was there's still something that you need to do in order to just, even if it's a thing of sounds like maintenance, then there's still something that you need to do on a regular basis to achieve that maintenance. It's not, and you just, by doing nothing, you actually regress, in my mind. Anyway, that was my argument.
No, I think you do too. I think you do. And it's really about looking at your values, what's really important to you in life. Because it's very easy. I can share a story with you of a client who was extremely successful in property investing. Okay, so she was a single lady, divorced, and she spent all her time in property investing. But what she neglected was her health and her relationships.
Sure.
When you really said to her, what's really important to you? Did she give you, I want to get another tenant in this house, or I'd like to buy a HMO? And I was like, no. What's really important in life? Tell me that. And when I really drove down, what was important to her is she actually wanted to cuddle up with someone in the evening on the sofa and drink hot chocolate and watch a movie. That's what she wanted.
Sure.
So why not buy more houses? Because you're not going to cuddle a house, are you?
No, exactly.
So let's work out what needs to happen in order for that to occur. Yeah. Where are you going to hang out? I don't want you hanging out in bars, because you hang out in a bar, you're going to start attracting guys who just get pissed all the time.
Yeah.
You hang out in areas where there are guys that you're attracted to who are going to be like that.
Yeah, sure.
take conscious decisions to move towards that. And it might sound a bit odd for a financial planner to say, what are you doing talking about relationships? Don't you just do money and life insurance? But no, the foundation really is, how do you want to spend the rest of your life?
Of course, and it's exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter, and you need, the whole thing about the Living Full project is you need all these areas covered. Relationships and money are the ones that create the most amount of tension for people as well. Mindset, health, and fitness, and all those other types of things can all fit in, but they're all equally, they're all really important. It's not just a one area thing, otherwise you're just going to fall away in another side of your life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. It's all those different pillars, and not trying to be an expert in any one of them, but just keeping them all developing over time, steadily improving on them, and setting yourself long-term goals.
Yeah, sure. No, I couldn't agree more. You touched on it earlier, and you were saying something about the financial education and the whole education system. And my thing is about these kind of soft skills and being self-aware and showing empathy and things like this, and also finance. Why are we learning finance from our parents still? And there's nothing wrong with that, especially, it's funny because there's that old adage, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But then if you are fortunate enough to have parents that are extremely good with money, then the chances are you'll be in a better position financially than you would if you hadn't. So, for my own personal story, my dad, miser, doesn't spend anything. And my mum, absolutely terrible, which is what a lot of the forces, a lot of their early arguments with that, But so I had to kind of go and work it out for myself, and it took a long, long time. And even now, I still have the old triggers of wanting that immediate gratification or whatever that still lingers within me because of what I picked up from my parents, and you can quite easily see then that generation after generation after generation stay in the same type of financial band,
Yeah, definitely. And you're right, the rich get richer because they have conversations around creating wealth and preserving wealth and respect for money. So they're at the dinner table and they're having those conversations because I have my clients ask me to speak to their children to make sure that their children are on board with what the biggest plan is. What's the family plan? What are we trying to achieve here? So you tend to find the conversation around the dinner table are more geared towards values as opposed to maybe what other people are doing and social media and things like that.
Sure. Nice.
And you know what? Let's face it. Life isn't about money. It doesn't always have to be about money. We've just got to make smart, long-term decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the compelling thing why the rich tend to get richer and the poor tend to get poorer. But it doesn't have to be that way. Years ago, someone said to me, to whom are you listening? To whom are you taking advice from? Because at the end of the day, if you speak to a butcher about nutritional advice, he's going to say meat is the answer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure.
You just need to speak to someone who's going to give you good, sound, impartial advice. See, proven their track record.
Yeah. And I mean, why do you think it's still not in our school systems? I'm not sure. I'm aware of the fact that it's not in public schools, but I'm not sure if is it in private schools? I know your kid's got a private school, right? But
it is because I do it.
Oh, really? Okay.
So financial education is really close to my heart. So I've got two young children. Ollie is 12, nearly 13. Isabella is 10. And what I do is make sure that they grew up have a healthy appreciation for money. I don't want them to be in finance or money or anything else. I just want them to be able to control money rather than have money control them.
Sure.
And I was invited a number of years ago to start teaching in these schools to help educate the children about just general basic money management skills. And that's all we're doing in there.
Sure.
So I've kind of taken that on a step further. And now WarrenShute.com is whole strapline is financial education for the nation. There's no products, there's no selling. It's pure education. We answer questions that people raise. We just try to inform people. Today, we just shot a couple of videos. One was on the stock market. It's the 30th anniversary of the stock market crash in '87. And the second one was all about the mountain debt crisis. How do we buy our first house? So it's just general education information. And I don't know why it's not taught in the curriculum, but in the private schools, typically, they do bring people in about it because I guess they appreciate how important it is. But one of my missions is really try and take financial education into the mainstream curriculum and just educate people on, let's just face it, when I left school at 16, I didn't understand why a current account was called a current account. What was current about it? What happened to all the other ones? Were they now no longer current? It just didn't make sense to me. And then I could always drive past a building, looking at the sign saying, to let. What do you mean to let? To let what? To let it stand there? To let someone use it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But come on, these are stupid terms that are very basic information, just need to be told and just educated. So I'm quite passionate, or very passionate about financial education, and I would really like to sort of pursue it and make it more prominent in the school system.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, of course. I mean, a more financially savvy nation would be a more, that has an exponential effect on everybody. So to me, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to look at like Singapore, China, and India. They're really plowing into education, but they're not plowing into education like learning Latin and learning the traditional sort of subjects. Yeah. They're really developing people on the way things are going. Because whatever we teach our children today, we're failing them.
Sure.
Because we don't know. Well, look, we don't know. A 12-year-old at school today is probably not going to go into the work area until probably another 20 or so years.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus, man, look back 20 years. Look at how things have changed. Did we even have Facebook 20 years ago? I don't think we did, And we've now got, Instagram and Twitter and, everything at our fingertips. And that was, in fairness, that was one of my things this morning. And this is very controversial, but everyone's moaning about how hard it is to buy a house these days. But I think what they're trying to say is it's hard to earn the money based on the limitations that they've got in their mind. Because I know my father worked really hard in a factory, worked long hours, everything else, and earned a fraction of what I earn. And I just, press a few keyboards on a computer and answer phone calls and stuff. The workplace today is so much easier physically than it used to be. And I think sometimes we just have to get out of our comfort zone and work a bit harder and try different things and become a bit more ingenious to develop this.
Or a bit smarter, because I think people have that, this is my job and that's what I do, and then I'm limited to that. Whereas it's when I see some of these other people, they kind of, some of these entrepreneurs, and they've got what they call a side hustle, so the goal is for them is that at some point that side hustle is actually their passion project as well, or it's just something that can actually exceed their job, their 9 to 5, or the thing that just pays the bills. Nothing wrong with having a job if that you're passionate about, that you love, but if it's just as kind of a means to an end, then you need to ask yourself, what is it that you really want to do? I believe, in my humble opinion at least.
What's interesting, there's so many similarities what you're saying to what we do. Okay, because we have the same sort of thing. I have a sort of motto: either do a job that earns enough money so you can enjoy your passions, or just do your passion.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like if you're fortunate enough that you can do a job and earn enough money that you can go and spend all your time doing all the things you skiing or diving or whatever the thing is you really get juiced about, then great. If not, just do that thing, man. Just do that thing because life's too short.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So you touched on it earlier. So what's the book called and what's it about? Okay,
so the book's called The Money Plan. And the money plan is a 5-step process that I've been working through my clients the last 20 years. Right. Start off step 1, and you can go to warrenshute.com and it's all on there, all 5 steps. Step 1 is all about the goals, visions, what it is you're trying to achieve in life. Step 2 is all about getting financially organized. Step 3 is all about your protections. So everything from life insurance to disability insurance and things like that, but also wills and power of attorneys and trusts.
Sure.
Then we move on to repaying debt, and then we finish up with investing. So the irony is investing is actually the last thing that you think you should do. We think you should sort of know what you want to do, your outcome. We want you to get financially organized. We have a great bank account system. I've got a video there about how to manage your money in a bank account system. We want you to make sure your foundations and your protections are in place, so from life cover through the wills and trusts. Pay your debt down, make sure you accelerate your debt repayment, and then invest.
Nice.
But yeah,
why is it specifically in that order?
Because I think if you don't know what you want, it's really interesting actually, because the publishers ask the same question. If you don't know what you want, well, you're going to get lost. So before you start off on a journey, you've got to know where you want to go.
Set the sat nav. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I want to go. If I just get in the car and drive, I could end up anywhere. Okay. So the first step is where do I want to go? Okay. And then if I'm going to go there, well, I've got to be smart. I've got to be organized, because if I'm in a muddle, it's going to take. It's like walking through treacle. So I've got to get organized.
Sure.
And then actually, I've got to make sure my foundation's done, because all good, strong buildings have got strong foundations. So make sure my structure is there. And debt, as we've seen in the press, debt is the biggest killer. So we like to get unsecured debt paid off straight away before we do anything. And then we would then work on a combination of paying your mortgage down and investing simultaneously. And that's only because the rate of interest on a mortgage tends to be a lot lower.
Sure. So it's manageable.
And then we invest. But there's been so many studies from like debt agencies, consumer advice areas that say that if someone just has like £500 or £1,000 invested, 99% of their money worries goes out the window. So they just sound, they sleep better at night. And that's where we start. We just say to once we get into the foundations, it's step one is just save £1,000. Just save £1,000. And for some people, that is a big deal. That's a really big deal. So we don't take credit for it. We don't take it for granted. Sorry. So we say save £1,000, put it away in premium bonds. It's out of the way. And then we say, right, now let's pay your debt now. Let's pay your debt now. And we have a process called the snowball effect, which accelerates the repayment of the debt. So we get them to pay their debt down, and then we get them to build up this £1,000 like 3 to 6 months of their expenditure.
Nice.
It's nice and structured. It flows really well. The book basically takes you from cradle to grave all the way through. And it's not rocket science, and it's really easy to follow.
Well, that's the best way as well. In fact, some people like to be a bit too complex and start talking sort of, brown belt language to people that are coming in at a white belt level, So
you're absolutely right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what? I suppose we just covered the basics. So what trips people up? Mainly trips people up in your opinion. I suppose what I'm asking is, there's some people that, okay, I'll do that, and then they just fail or fall off the wagon or go back to old ways of behavior.
Okay, so I guess there's two areas that we deal with. So people starting out, typically, to make any change, you've got to make it an absolute must. You really have to commit to it. So whether it's financial change or weight loss or career change, you've actually got to stick to it and focus, say what your goal is, what your outcome is, and then consistently, day in, day out, take the mundane actions that drive you towards your outcome. Because actually getting successful, getting wealthy, losing weight is boring. We don't want the process, we want the outcome. And in today's instant gratification society, I want an iPhone, I'm just going to put it on HP. Get interest credit, I want a car, I want a house, I want anything I want, I can just buy it and pay for it on the never, never.
Yeah,
and that's the same with goals. We don't generally want the journey, we want the outcome. That's what people do. People don't consistently take those actions. So one of the things that trips people up in the early days is they don't take the consistent actions that will take them towards their goal. They think they can miss things. They think, I won't do the goal setting because it's more important that I just start saving and investing.
Yeah, sure.
And then something trips them up and they actually think, well, this is boring. What am I investing for? They don't know what they're moving towards.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be the beginners or the people starting off in the process. But also the other end of the scale, when people do become wealthy, so we see clients actually that see their income go into hundreds, and we have some clients earn over £1 million a year. We see them feel that they're now an expert in everything. So they I am great at making these widgets. I run this widget making company really, really well. I now think I can open up a gym. I can open up a car dealership. I can open up a aquarium shop, and I'll be an expert at all those because I'm a genius.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Bring
it down to earth.
Fastest way to lose money. Yeah.
You're really good at making widgets. You're going to now need to relearn those skills at those areas, and you can do it again. But let's relearn the skills. Don't think you are not a genius across the board. Richard Branson is so successful because he's had so many attempts. That's it. He's had more failures than he has successes. You just hear about successes. You've been very fortunate. And I don't say don't try new things once you're at that level, but understand your areas of weakness. And one of his skill sets is he brings really good people in.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He doesn't feel that he's got to run everything.
No, of course not. Yeah, and you want smart people around you, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's funny you touched on it earlier as well. And I was going to go back to that. It's one of the key things that we all talk about as well is your environment. You touched on it in as far as dinner table discussions, but also the kind of the woman looking for a partner. And it's about putting yourself in those environments with people that with the same values as you, that will get you those kind of results you want. So knowing what you want then is extremely important for and in anything, any walk of life. Yeah.
Knowing what you want, being part of a group, being part of a social network, a coaching program type thing, being part of that massively improves your success rates. So there was a study done by I think it was the American College of Medicine. It looked at all different diets and nutrition programs, low carb, low fat, balanced nutrition, all these different things. There's about 5 or 6 different diets. And what they actually concluded is most of the diets all work the same if they were followed. So whether you were a low carb eater, whether you was a low fat eater, balanced eater, actually they all gave pretty much over time about the same result. But the one group that excelled by about 225% was the group that had a community. So when they went to like a Weight Watchers or something, they went to a group because they had accountability, because they had community, they could share these ideas. They had a 225% improvement.
Wow. Yeah.
So that just really to me shows how important having a coach and having a team group is to me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. What do your most successful clients do then? Is it? I suppose you've kind of answered that. Is that they're just consistent, or is there something else you would think?
They have longer term goals. Okay. And they do almost the mundane very well.
Right.
Okay, they do the regular habits extremely well.
Sure.
So when you talk to them, they want to achieve things in their lifetime. They always have a future vision, this compelling vision. They always their tomorrows are always greater than their past. Okay, so they're looking at the future. They want to achieve more. They want, and that more may not always be financial. That more might be spending more time with their family. It might be helping other people. It might be actually helping the church. All sorts of things. Their future is always bigger than the past.
Sure.
And they're very humble. Most of them, at least, are very humble. They don't actually consider what they do as anything special. They just regularly continue to invest, continue to make good decisions, and it's quite interesting actually because they do take time over making decisions. They make informed decisions. And in fairness, that's what they work with me for. They almost like a sounding board as their coach to make good decisions.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So you said earlier on that you're really passionate about the financial education and stuff, but why is that? What makes it, why is it such a passion for you?
Because I don't believe people need to struggle to the extent that they do. Because I think growing up from fairly humble beginnings, when you struggle and you come through it, you never really forget what it was like. I can remember once coming into some money and it was cash. And I thought, I'll put it in the account because I can transfer it to this other account and do some stuff with it. When I put it into the account, they said, oh no, you can't do that. She's just paid your overdraft off. And I'm like,
right, yeah.
Man, and you just sort of think there are people out there who day to day are getting money in and that's going straight back out. And their whole life is existence. And I just sort of think if I can help in a little way to help bring a bit more enjoyment to their life, to allow them to take a pause, step into reality and say, it doesn't have to be this way, and then make slow but consistent progressions. Let's face it, if you don't have any financial education, you have no financial resources, you're not going to become super wealthy and independent overnight.
No.
But what you can do is you can change your family tree by making consistent decisions day in, day out, so that your children then see what you're doing, and then eventually the whole family starts improving.
Sure.
And all you need is someone to show you the right way. Success isn't a secret. So, whether it's health, weight loss, business, or financial, it's just a process that you have to follow.
Yeah.
And it starts with that vision. It starts with knowing what you really want to achieve, and then taking consistent actions to achieve it.
Sure. That's brilliant, and that leads lovely into. So, what legacy do you want to leave?
It's really interesting, actually, because I don't know whether people say, "Oh, you shouldn't leave a legacy" and stuff like that. It's egotistical and stuff. But no, I actually would, because I would actually like to leave one, because then I kind of feel that I have left the world in a better place.
Sure.
And really, for me, it's financial education. I would, if I could do one thing, it would be, I think what Jamie Oliver has done for school meals and nutrition. I don't think he's gone far enough, but I don't think that's necessarily his fault. But I think what he's done for the school meals brought attention to dietary habits of children. If I could do something similar along the finance side, if I could just bring into schools some basic curriculum that says, okay, money coming in has to be more than money going out. Okay, it's not rocket science, guys. You got £100 coming in, you can't spend £100.
No,
in fact, you have to save.
Yeah.
You have to. It's compulsory. And so if you're told at that age you have to save, then you save. And if I could get them to teach them, say, actually, look, when you borrow money on a credit card at 18%, it's costing you a lot of money. It's 20% more expensive. Save it up. Wait. Delay your gratification, because quite often when you save the money and then buy it, you actually enjoy the process more anyway.
Sure.
I think my legacy could be, if it could be financial education, if it could be a system, it doesn't have to be rocket science, a system people follow, say, oh, do you know what? That works. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's face it, money can be boring. Let's automate it. Automate money as much as we can. Make it automated. Allow me to get on my life and enjoy it. Let me go and do things I really enjoy, whether that's with your family, partying, holidaying, whatever, walking, But I know my foundation's covered. I know where I'm going. I'm organized. I've got my foundations covered, pay my debt down, and I've got a retirement strategy.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Oh, just quickly as well. I remember you were telling me last time we spoke that you have you use a little system and you pay yourself allowance. Could you talk on that a bit?
Yeah.
Well?
So that's the bank account system.
Yes.
Okay? For the bank account system, there's a video on the website about the bank account system. So if you, and there's some graphics stuff, so you want to go and check it out. But basically what it is over the years, we found that as clients earned more money, quite often not, they still didn't have any money left over at the end of the month. So we might see them 1 year, and I'll just use round figures. You see them 1 year, they might eat £10,000. Year later, we might see they might earn £12,000, but they're still paying their expenditure still matches the same 10 and 12. So when we sort of drummed a bit deeper, we sort of got them to say, well, nothing's changed. How can it be? And what we found is it was just what we term as spending creep. So just little incidentals, whether it might be a cost of coffee here, a meal out there, getting your hair done a bit more frequently, buying a few more items on Amazon, downloads, whatever it might be, whatever your thing is, it was spend creep. So what we then did, we said, well, look, people don't like budgets. I don't personally believe diets work. Eating plans do. Give people parameters, that's fine. But if you pigeonhole someone too much, they can do it for so long, but then they're going to resist. They're going to break away.
Yeah.
So what we did is we set a system up to say that, okay, when you get paid, have that money paid into a bills account. And then from your bills account, have all your regular committed activities going out, all your utilities, your rent, your mortgage, everything that's regular. And then once a week on a Wednesday, into your spending account, your personal account, which we call your WAM account, your walkabout money account, pay yourself an allowance. And that is your weekly allowance. That's what you spend. Okay. And then whatever you spend variable, so whether it's fuel, haircuts, just buying a Costa coffee, meals, anything online transactions, any variable spend, you spend out of that money. And when that money's gone, it's gone. And then you get paid again the following Wednesday. And then you repeat the process. And what you're finding is that a Wednesday, the reason the Wednesday came about is the Wednesday was paid into a Wednesday because then it was cleared funds for the weekend. We found that most of our clients spend the money on Friday, Saturday night. Okay, so Wednesday it's cleared funds for the Friday night. But also, by the time Sunday come around, they may have spent all their money. Monday and Tuesday isn't that long until they get paid again on Wednesday. So most people can do 2 days before they get paid again. So there's psychology behind the Wednesday.
Nice.
Okay? And the weekly allowance basically gives them some parameters to say, hey, I don't care what you spend. But this is what you can spend.
Yeah.
It works brilliantly for relationships. So when you're in a relationship, sometimes it's the lady, sometimes it's the man. One of the couples in the relationship tend to be a bigger spender, and one of the couples tends to be a saver. So my wife tends to be a bigger spender. I tend to be a saver. But if I monitor what she spends, then there's guilt and remorse around her. Then that's not the way to live a relationship. So she should be free to spend her money on whatever she wants. No policing. So that's what we do. She gets her allowance. I get my allowance. I don't know what she spends it on. I don't really mind. She can do whatever she wants. And I can spend mine on mine. And that's it. And if we're building up for a larger spending item, I might accrue it for a few weeks or a month or whatever, and then buy a large spend item. But that's my allowance. That's what I spend. So if you're employed or you're a business owner, the money goes into your bills account. All your regular committed bills go out of your bills account. One of those payments every week is into your spending account. We call it your WAM account. If you're saving up for a holiday or something big, we might suggest you have a longer term savings account. So one of those payments every week goes into there. You're building up an amount of money into that account. And it all works automatically. Everything's by a standing order or direct debit. So you're not doing any manual transactions. And it just works great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's really important. I think.
Do you know, it works great. We have clients earn anything from, £40,000-50,000 to it up to the £1 million guys. They do it too. The figures are different. The figures are different. And how you come about your figures is basically you add up all your direct debits and everything else. You know what you've got. You know what's coming in. And you know what you normally spend. So our outcome isn't to necessarily cut your spending unless you've got lots of debt. Our outcome is just to say, okay, this is your regular spend. And again, the book goes through this in quite a lot of detail because I think this is key. This is a real key area.
Yeah, it's a game changer, definitely.
Yeah, it's cool.
And like you say, I like the psychology behind it because you think, Monday and Tuesday I'm not going to do much because I can't afford it. Well, and it's nice to think that in your mind because even if you have got the money, you just think, I'll just put it on that. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
No one's there to tell you how much is the right amount of money.
No.
But you just say, okay, you agree as a grown-up. You've got to start making grown-up decisions. You say, okay, my bills are this. My WAM money can be this. And I've got this left over. You want a little bit left over because we need to save some as well.
Yeah. Nice. Wow. Mind blown. I love that. That's a really insightful. And I just wanted to kind of acknowledge you, and you're clearly passionate and you're getting out and you do things the right way. And I mean, I've known you for a very long time as a personal friend, but also, I've had the pleasure of meeting some of your clients, and they all say the same thing in this. It's all good news, and it's amazing to hear something that is quite, let's say it, boring. Like you said, money and financial planning there's a whole element around adjusting people's mindsets and actually freeing them up to have, create lives for themselves. And that word again comes up again, freedom, giving them financial freedom, that breathing space, and actually, taking the stress out of people's lives. I think is a massive thing you're doing, and I wanted to sort of acknowledge you for that. And thank you very much for your time as well. Yeah,
it's been good. Enjoyed it.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Thanks a lot.
No worries.